everybody, to Appy Hour. Today's topic are 21st century newsletters. And miracles? Well, I wouldn't consider a newsletter a miracle, but I put this up here for you to bring us, to roll us back, something I don't remember. I was 5. But do you remember when the United States hockey team beat Russia for the 1980 Olympics? If you remember watching the game, I bet you think you watched the game live, but the vast majority of the country actually watched it on delay. It was a live event, and the vast majority of the country didn't know the United States had beat Russia until, 5 hours after the game had actually occurred? What's happening today? Do you imagine the whole country not knowing that we won the gold medal? It would never happen today, right? How Zoom news has changed so much. Not just, from you go back to Ben Franklin with a printer, right? To Edward R. Murrow with the radio, to TV, just in the past 5 years. Changed. And ask everybody with me to think about it. What's a one or two word way in which you think news has really changed just in the past few years? What's that adjective? How would you describe that change? Go ahead and think about it. Throw in the chat and press send. What one word, like how we consume news, like what's changed about it? Go to chat right now. Those of you listening on recording, just get it in your head. What do you think? Access. There's a great variety of sources, and you know what? It's accessible from anywhere, anytime, anywhere. I absolutely agree. The word that comes most to my mind is immediate. What do you, Lynn, on instant access? One of the things we know about news is in which it's new to us, is so much quicker than it ever was. News to Ben Franklin when he was printing his newspapers could be 3 months. That was new information. And now it's like the race to the masses. If you didn't find out it happened then and there, it's already old by the time it comes out. So this is up that idea of what does it look like to have a newsletter in the 21st century? Do you once a month to put in information? Do you put it out even once a week? Well, if you do, you're really putting out olds, not news. So our goal for today, we're going to start with deconstructing the newsletter, like what out of it did we like, and then talk about how we can build a patterns into our teaching lives so to get information out to folks. And of course, we're going to highlight some cool ways of how to do that. And our big focus today is actually going to be around Twitter. Now, there are other tools out there. We know there's Instagram and Vimeo and all these other tools, but we think actually in MCPS there's kind of already a body of tweeting going on, and we thought we'd piggy on that and share today. If you're good with today's agenda, this is for you. Give me a smiley face in the chat. You could probably give me a different type of emoticon if you wanted to. We know we are ready to roll. So the first thing we're going to do is deconstruct the newsletter. Put in a newsletter. If you ever put one out to students, what did you put in it? And if you ever get one, because many of us are parents, we consume them. And even if you just saw your peers, what are some of the big things you would put in a newsletter? Go ahead and throw them in the chat now. Events, cool tips. Just don't forget sessions. Absolutely. Some of those ideas you have, you can see them here, and I kind of put them into 2 categories: the traditional and the 21st century. We know that testing events, reminders, bragging, shout-outs, and prompts are things that have been pretty traditionally done. I'm going to like prompts a little bit more because it's been a traditional newsletter, but it kind of gets an even cooler feature when you come into the 21st century. The 20th century got a whole bunch more things that you can include because you no longer have to wait to do a newsletter. Instead of putting out a full newsletter at the end of the month or the end of the week with everything, Twitter allows you to send each individual moment, each article, the event when the event matters, the brag when the brag happened, the call to action, the night before. Immediacy with our news can actually make making a newsletter easier. There's not that pressure to have one big thing at the end. Instead, each moment in time is worthy of sharing in the moment in which it happened. Additional ways people have transferred what used to be a newsletter feature into Twitter. So your shout-outs or congratulations. No longer waiting to say, hey, boys JV won till a month later. You actually can say it in real time. That are coming. Noel actually, at the time of taping, has their expeditions tomorrow. They're telling everybody about it. Woohoo! Reminders. Spring is really a whiz at this, of communicating with their students about what happens when it happens. Images, cool stuff when it happens. Kind of traditional ways we've always put information in newsletters transferred into the medium of Twitter. There's actually some not fun rules, but there's some rules, some suggestions, some straight out of business so you can make your tweets better. We've all seen possibly sent tweets like this. Something. This is what's coming tomorrow. Today. We've all done that. Well, these are money-making solutions that I think can transfer well into the world of newsletters. If you're going to say something, tell followers to do something. The reason is overwhelmingly. The number one way to get someone to click on your link or to favorite a tweet is to ask them to favorite it. Say you have expeditions and they took you to the moon. Say, Google expeditions were great today. Favorite this tweet. You'll therefore get more traffic. More people will see what was going on. Asking them to do something, tell them it's simple. People know how long something's going to take them. Want to know the commitment. So tell them it's simple, that helps. People love to know if there's a number of steps involved. We've all that say, do this one simple thing to lose weight or make money on the internet. That's because our brains are wired to want to click on things. It's going to tell them how long it takes, and of course tell them why it makes their lives better. Give them a reason to look in. Just looking at this picture here, smile, think about, warmer days. Want to do that? Look at this picture. And so this picture, what could I write about it in a tweet? So those actionable ideas into work. So in saying, look at the pumpkin patch today, I said, ask your child about the pumpkin patch today. 15 more pictures at my link. So if we had a snapfish or these pieces, go. And I made sure to share it with other people I thought would share with me too. Now, more of the 21st century ways to engage folks. One is doing a play-by-play. That pumpkin patch became a play-by-play. What does that mean? Well, you know what? There are moments within any field trip that tell a story that you can take a picture of. And live tweeting an event like going to the pumpkin patch is a great way to hook your parents in. Do you need to know that they were picking which pumpkin? No, but you know what? Parents who couldn't go on a field trip go along with their day with what their kids are doing. Once within the day, the kids are making, and favorite questions to ask. This is favorite prompt. Give parents something they can ask their students that's specific and meaningful so that they can find out about the day. Nothing more dreaded than, how was school today? Fine. Instead, give something really cool to say. Play-by-play. I gave you a play-by-play to the pumpkin patch. But I'm going to ask everybody right now, can you think of any event in your school day or your professional life that could have a fun play-by-play where you could kind of give a target of what was going on, tell that story about an event to parents, and really hook them in? If you can think of any, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Oh, I'm teaching a new app. Right before the bell rings and kids come in, about to do this today, and then as students create or use the app, you could tweet the products. Absolutely. You could do a game. What are the scores? What's going on here? And feedback and tweet, this piece of feedback. Oh, and from a Shakespearean play. Absolutely. It was 20th century or 2002. It's all about telling a story about your classroom. So if you find a good to tell, a parent meeting with a guest speaker, you could tweet the quotes as they come. Absolutely. That works into telling that story. I have to tell you, I as a parent love props. What games did you play at recess? What was the funniest thing that happened today? I want to know. These are kind of just social ones that I fall back on as a parent to ask my kids. Truthfully, I love to ask my kids, did you do anything with the color blue today? Well, they're kindergartner and first graders, and invariably some color was involved, and it makes them think about their day. You, a teacher, we as teachers, have so much more insight into what's actually going on. So what's the follow-up question you ask them? What is the critical thinking moment? What was the bigger of the day? Ask about the caterpillars today and find what happens. Give me something to do with my children that's engaging and connected today so I can learn about today, and I will, as a parent, will love you forever, and I think our community will as well. Stuck on what to post, anything there, you can fall back on lists like this one. This link is just 30 questions to ask your kid, and if you've made a commitment to week, give your parents something to ask their students. You're not sure what to say? This is a fun one I like to refer to. This tweet that came out about our Google Expeditions field trip, Bugtown was amazed by what we saw today. And you see the kids. I mean, how great is that? What ask is just saying what you saw. Let's put our tips into action. Give them something to do, and tell them it's easy to do it. Think about how could you change the 140 characters here to give parents something they can do and engage with. And put your thoughts in the chat now. Hope your child see in the cardboard box. If you knew, many of you guys have actually had these field trips. If you knew where they went, say, I took a virtual field trip today. Where did you go? Or you ask the question. We took students on an ocean safari. And these kids, I believe they're ocean safaring. It looks like she's pointing to a shark. So you could say, did you see a shark today? Are humans more helpful or harmful? What was this amount of change from our Philadelphia trip? There's no really clever questions to ask kids. Whatever that question is, post it up here. In prompts, one of the easiest things that you can do in a 21st century newsletter, and it's really just not something you would have put in your regular newsletter. The moment happens too fast and you lose it. But I love Miss Flowers. She's a fantastic teacher. I have been following her as we go for quite some time. And she loves to post the awesome, fun things that she hears students say to her. She's actually at Sally Ride Elementary School. And these are just some of her quotes. It says, I'm finally getting the hang of the school thing. I mean, talk about growth mindset, right? Your students say something fun, clever, interesting, tweet out. Moment. And actions. Now, we're good at this. We are good at saying, Ashburn Elementary has a dine at Chipotle, come, right? So calls to actions can be a variety of different things. The shift, I would say, is like to say this nicely, like we have an event or this. Shows with Twitter. Tell people what to do. So turn in your field trip forms and link to where the field trip form is. Turn the form. Take a picture of the form and put it online. Not just looking forward to big trial. Everybody needs to come here. Tell them what to do. Springbrook is telling the students what to do. So tell them to do something. And cool tools using TweetDeck is how you know something is going to be told them to do. You can set that up ahead of time so you don't have to remember. It's big enough for you to remember to go to Chipotle, right? You take care of sending it when you want it sent. Gather. So, looking to engage in a conversation. It's that next step, which tells us only 10% of people on Twitter actually tweet. They actually send out stuff. A very small fraction engage in conversations. I think, that sounds like no one's talking. Well, at least social research tells us that 10% of any group are the talkers, the shares, whether it's face-to-face or online. So it's kind of Twitter's just like the real world. Nonetheless, you can use it to gather information. You people to share it with you by commenting. An alternate vehicle for communicating with you. Ask and gather, give them email or comments, maybe give them a form they can click on, or email it to you. So use it as an all-call. If, let's say you're going into Family Heritage Night and you're wondering what heritages are in your classroom. Your parents, you've already engaged them. They loved your live tweeting the field trip. They're so there. They find it super helpful that you remind them and kick that link to the field trip form. So helpful. Now you can say, tell me what your traditions are. You won't ask the kids in class, but it's nice to know ahead of time so you can kind of get your thinking hat on and better tailor your presentation. You guys think of anything right now? Gather. What's something you'd love to find out about that you think a vehicle like this would get for you? What things would you want to gather from kids? If you can think of any, throw them in the chat. Daryl, student or parent feedback about an event. What do you like? And of course, we're putting ourselves out there. Know what kind of feedback you're going to get publicly. But at this time, that risk is also a real reward. You build up a cadre of people who are following you, who support you, and who share awesome stuff about you. Most people do to be positive like that. There are also tools which you can use in Twitter to monitor and manage the flow as well. How great would that be? Advice from students to next year's group of students. Class of 2016, you just took the SATs. What would you tell people the night? What would you tell people? And gather those pieces back. I have to share, and all of a sudden I see a Walter Johnson flag flying out of a car. The students had it like on a big flag, and it was flying back and forth. And I've got a picture, and it was so awesome. And I went and I tweeted it out, and I tweeted it at the principal of the school. And I have never gotten more retweets than from the moment, because the students saw it, and they were retweet. They like to communicate this way. They like the immediacy of this way. You can get feedback from students. So with you, this would be a great way to get a different type of feedback from kids. To give parents that little live looking into the classroom. They want to be connected. They want to know what's going on. How simple is it for you to tweet the schedule for the day? It doesn't have to be every day, but if you've got something cool going on, you think it's neat, take a picture, tweet out. Kids' pictures. My students actually have Spirit Week this week. This nice handout was there. Take a picture, tweet it out. The words you're working on. What are the words this week? Take a picture, tweet out. Stores, right? Take a picture into the window into your classroom. This isn't always what kids are doing, although that is totally really cool too. You can also use these static images to give parents information without having to retype or reorganize or re-put things in. And you can cut down on questions. If I'm emailing my teacher saying, what are the words for the week? You tweet once. I don't have to do anything new. This can totally give you a live look in. Also, bulletin boards, great fun. Elementary school bulletin boards are awesome. These are masterpieces. Take a picture of the bulletin board, send it out. Members. Right, members, well, has anyone ever posted on Facebook, if you're willing to admit it, have you ever done a throwback Thursday? You did that grainy picture from, 30 years ago and laugh at yourselves? My sister's in this picture. I'm not actually in this 1983 8-year-old picture. But a live-looking idea that Throwback Thursday works because it's a pattern and people remember it. So if you take a picture on the very first day of kindergarten, this is my Anna, you take that picture and you use a delay tweet to send it out. How fun is that? This is at the beginning of the year, the end of the year. Say where you come and where you're going. Take your predictions now and have them live tweet out later. Quite easy, fun way to get kids to remember what was going on. Remember what you said, remember what you did. If kids make predictions, if kids have, what are you going to do better to improve your studies? Take a picture of the kids' notes, writing that, and retweet them later. Okay, so we have jumped in and said there's ways to do your newsletter. Now it's time for us to talk about how do you actually achieve these things. It has to be immediate. It has to be efficient. Teachers have to be able to do it. Well, as I change my screen, I'll pop over and do that for you. I want you to think a little bit, remember, to how newsletters have been done in the past. So if you kind of think about that, what does that mean for a newsletter, right? Well, you used to write that newsletter up. You used to edit it. You might get together as a team and work together. You might not. You polish all your articles off. About an hour, maybe more later, you have a newsletter. You didn't have enough information. You wait a little while. You don't send it out yet. You put it together. Putting together a newsletter, I'd probably say, takes about an hour to be on the small end and probably 2 to be on the larger end. If you kind of have an estimate for how long it took you, please go ahead and throw that in the chat. About doing newsletters with Twitter is you don't have that overall, let me pull this here, you don't have that overall overhead. You have to wait to put your newsletter together. You don't have to get 10 articles before you can send it out. You don't have to look for filler. You're just sending news as it happens. So well, first of all, here's Twitter. Hello, Twitter. This is its landing page. And if you want to sign up for Twitter, I'm going to actually, here I am. I'm going to log myself out. For Twitter, you come in, and the sign up button. This allows you to create an account. Now, one of the cool things that I've learned is you might want to have like a personal account and a school account. I'm going to show you when you go to account. Oops, it was a little slow here. So sign up is just as easy as clicking sign up. Your name, add in a valid email. Now, what's kind of cool, I suggest to folks, when you go in and do this, use your ncpsmd.net account. Set one up for yourself. Like me, here's a neat trick. You can actually put a period in your email. And the way Google is set up is it'll actually let you use that email account and validate and actually know that if you have multiple accounts, they're all actually organized together. You actually just put a little dot in there. That's what I'm going to do after the A, actually. Okay. You dot, and then sign up. Through the rest of the process, validating with a phone number. But the really cool stuff for you to remember is that you can go ahead and sign up, and you can actually do multiple Twitter handles all off of the same email address by just putting that little dot right there into the account. And it's already me right here. Of course, I actually do want to be CD Teach, so I make sure to log myself in for real. Yeah. Now I've logged in. The second thing is you want to customize your settings. So you want to make sure that your settings are set well. So click on my little icon up here and go down to Settings. This is where you want to notice your notifications. So there are a number of different pieces that you want to see here as you come in, and these matter in particular, you're using mobile. If you are using Twitter to really talk to people, like you're using it as a vehicle to really communicate with your parents, you might want to have tweets enabled for mobile notification. That will give you a message if it comes on your phone. You want to consider direct messages. Now, Twitter, if you've never done this before, a direct message is actually done right at the very beginning of your Twitter window. So message to Lynn, it's going directly to her by putting the @ That means somebody wants you to hear it. So you might want to consider turning on direct messages. Sadly, I don't have text messages to take that, so I have to follow another means. So you do want to keep that in mind. You send your text notifications. It's worth a walkthrough if you've never set it up your account to figure out how you want to be alerted to your information and how you want your account to show up. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. If you don't, give me a smiley face. App, so you can add it from the App Store. It's also a web page, and what it pretty much does is it gives you a layout to be able to control and view Twitter. Now, I use it. For the most part, I've always used the regular Twitter page in the past. Well, let me give you some reasons why it could be pretty cool. One, it will allow you to have multiple addresses, to control multiple addresses. So when you put a new tweet, if I have two accounts, I have my CDB45, which I already made, and my Carrie D. Booth, I can actually tweet to two addresses at once. So it had one for, there's 5 kindergarten teachers, and each of us have a Twitter, and I'm allowed to. I can tweet to all 5 of them at one time. So efficiency, right? This is it lets you do everything you can do from the Twitter handle, in some ways easier. So if you can, I can still send Lynn a message here. Hi. We're in Appy hour. Boom. But I also schedule it a tweet. So I choose when I want this message to go out to Lynn. Because, man, I might not want to send this message right now. We also know that when you send messages matter. Now, I don't have all the research on this one, but there are certain days when you send certain messages that really get people's mind going. Easy rule of thumb, the morning is far better than 5 o'clock at night. People are ready and they're prompt to do things. If you have an event going on, what you do it the morning of, the afternoon before is a nice time to send out a reminder. So you can think about when you get you watch your own stats, you do a little bit of Googling around, you can choose to send it, not just the time, also when you want the date of it to go out, and it will send it for you. I sometimes have time at 5 o'clock to send a tweet, but I don't really want to send my tweet at 5 o'clock because I don't think anyone's going to be looking. So this allows you to set up your tweets to send for a much later time. See this tweet in, where are we, 22 minutes? I'm going to send it in 26 minutes. And put the exclamation points, and I'm going to say tweet it. Even if you're not running. So isn't that great? I can go ahead and just send this tweet out, and it will work for me. Let me make my tweet. We'll be good. If you have any questions on that, go ahead and throw them in the chat. If you don't, you can give me a smiley face. Oops, and I was wondering why wasn't that working? Because it needs to, of course, be in the afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and tweet it. Another benefits of TweetDeck is it allows you to see kind of a layout here, all your notifications all at once. You can see all your private messages. And, oh, this is a fun one. If I go on accounts, additional Twitter accounts, and I can have a team carry booth. So there may be, maybe MCPS has a Twitter handle, you know, everybody, but it's probably not just one person. You might have a first grade Twitter handle for your school. Well, all the first grade teachers might want to tweet. Don't rely on that one person. Instead, set up Team Carry Booth or Team First Grade. And come in here and you can add a team member by writing in their names. I'm going to add Lynn. And if I Lynn can post to my account. So she's on Team Carry Booth. If we had an Appy Hour team, we'd be able to put everybody on the Appy Hour handle and send it out. So if I was on Team Daryl Williams here, I could forward your tweet, which I'm going to do. I can retweet it right from here, and I'd be allowed to do it in your handle if you have put me on your team. Tweet, it's really easy to use. It allows this team feature much easier than the regular Twitter handle. It allows you to schedule your tweets, which is a total bonus, and it allows you to send to multiple addresses at once. So if you're responsible for many different profiles, you know what? You can see them all. Throw them in the chat. If you don't, smiley face. Our last little Twitter fun up here. Extensions. Extensions are little apps that are embedded within the Chrome browser itself. So if you come to it and you look up here, you see I have lots of different extensions. One here is Silver. You from any web page. Oh, but wait, actually, should I use that? No, you'll see right here my tweet showed up for TweetDeck at Lynn, right here. It showed up on schedule. That was cool. I come up to Silverbird. It told me 10. I had 10 tweets that had come on my deck. If I were to do a tweet from here, I could. So I could say Appy Hour on my App Capital Weather gang. I don't probably want to do that one. I did at you, Daryl, but I can put my yay up here, and this will let me tweet it. So I can just send that tweet out right from here. I can also see all my Twitter handles. I can see my favorites. If I have any favorites, I clearly don't, and I can read it. Why do I like this app? Sure, it lets me tweet, which is nice, but I really like it because it just shows me all my tweets. As you can see, I'm getting weather crazy, but it allows me to see everything that's getting tweeted at me, and that is handy for me. Also, having it stick up on the page reminds me I'm supposed to be tweeting, so it gives me a reason to know, oh, I had 10 tweets, I should pay attention to this stuff. Known as Silverbird. If you get a sec, I'd love for you to throw in the chat links to them in the Chrome store so people can just click and add them. That's awesome. So time when you do your newsletters this way, instead of having a super duper altogether, awesome newsletter once a month, you actually tell people in the immediacy. News is what happened at this moment or this time. For that type of experience, how to make that work for you? Well, the best suggestion is to calendar it. Throughout Thursday, as I mentioned, it works because people think on Thursday I should share something that's a throwback. And it's really as simple as that, setting up your patterns for how you're going to prep. What does that mean? Well, when I consult people and say you want to really set up a presence, I actually do want you to do exactly that. Think about what you're going to do on which day. Have goals for yourself. Are you going to send out your a picture of your schedule for the day? Are you going to make sure to have one question, maybe on Wednesday, what parents can ask their kids? Live tweet some events. What are all the reminders you need to send. And you can sit down, even if you want to, even literally that first week of pre-service if you want to, one afternoon, 15 minutes, and you can set up 5 or 6 tweets to go out. I also recommend to not do it all alone. If your team is going to replace newsletter with news that comes from Twitter, sit down as a team, make a Google Doc to share, and have everybody put up 10 tweets, 10 generic tweets that you can use at any time. Those questions I pointed at with what you can ask your students. Who was nice to you today? Who did you help today? What did you do with the color blue? You can set up a list of generic tweets. So if you're going to say one thing every day, you don't always have to think of something new to say. You very simply go in and use the prompts. And if you're not into prompts and you want to do pictures, awesome thing to do, consider engaging your students in that. At the end of the day, maybe your exit ticket is, what would you tweet about what you learned today? Have students write those on an index card, brightly colored piece of paper, really anything. Have them write that and take a picture of what they said they learned today and tweet that out. When you do things that are authentic for kids, they tend to really engage with that well. And knowing that their idea might be the idea you tweet out for the day, that really ups the game for them. So use your peers, work together, get a list of generic tweets, and come up with patterns. On Monday I do, on Tuesday I do, on Thursday I do. And don't forget, TweetDeck will delay your tweets. So it allows you to schedule a lot of this beforehand. Now, before we go to kind of our next cool app trick, as you're thinking, what's one thing that you would like to tweet out? What's one idea that would fit into your routine? What's one thing, if I say, what do you want to commit to? What are you going to share with parents? What might that information be? Please throw that idea in the chat. Listening on recording, same thing. Get ahead. What is it that you want to do? And maybe some of our attendees might have a great idea for you as well. Lynn, I know I have you with me today, and Lynn was actually my gateway tweeter. She brought me into the tweeting fold. Do you have some great ideas from your travels around the county that people who do the Twitter stuff and do it very, very well?
Well, interesting. It depends on what school you go to, but it is quite popular at Wims Elementary School, and they actually have every single grade level. They all tweet. They're the ones actually that introduced me to the TweetDeck.
They were your gateway. They were your gateway, right?
They were my gateway, exactly. But then we went to different schools. We got other principals involved, like the principal from, what is the little school? There's a little elementary school that we go to. Anyway, so they tweet all the time. We have a couple staff development teachers that we retweet each other constantly. We'll develop a community. It won't take long. And it's just a lot of fun. Any specific topics, this is everything. They tweet homework, they tweet, things going on. These Google expeditions are being tweeted all over the place. It's ever exciting and wonderful things that are going on. Shout outs to people, shout outs to students, reminders. It's just everything.
I love the two ideas, the pictures of guest speakers and class activities. Absolutely, and that's kind of a great first start. That's such a great beginning. And the next one is to know that small isn't necessarily off limits. We all think to do the expedition, right? Because that's the big thing. We all think to do the field trip. But you know what? The small activity that you did in class that day can be equally tweetable. Take a kid's piece of paper, send it out. Exit ticket. Get the small things out there. The evidence of adult learning in schools, absolutely. Get the pictures and show what is it that changed stuff. And that's a great one where quotes come in. If you're tweeting quotes, you are really taking it up a notch of what people say and share that story about our learning. Another very fun way to share a story, and we take you into our app of the day. There are equivalents to this within Google, but honestly, when I take pictures, I'm doing it on my phone. If you're agreeing with me, you can give me a yay or a smiley face in the chat. And Greg Mullenholtz from Ashburton actually introduced me at one of our Google expeditions to a really cool app called Pick Collage. If you haven't put it on your phone. This is worth a visit to your app store. There's lots of them. This is the one that I've settled on to like. And what it does is it actually creates a collage. If you're a 13-year-old girl, and I know at least one of us here was not, but I was, we used to cut up pictures from magazines and glue them together. That is exactly what this does. It allows you to take pictures and put them, he did very square here, but you can do them in fun, different shapes. You can craft a story with your pictures and control the look and feel of the pictures and send it out. And this is an example. He picked 4 pictures from his phone and made it, and then you can tweet directly from there. So looking for a fun app for your phone, a neat way to tell the story, which is all we're doing with this. Newsletters tell the story of our classroom. Newsletters give us this is who we are. And now Twitter, your feed, tells you who you are. So if you haven't, take a look at the pic collage. It is super fun. It's worth that second for you to do so. And that last moment again to say that moving to a newsletter, that style, is about moving to the immediate. But our old stock things that we did before and our new stock things actually play a lot of help with this. In the traditional world, we know we're doing events, reminders, brags, shout-outs, and I've seen a lot in the old letters of giving the right questions to ask the kids how they learned. These are awesome things that translate really nicely to the Twitter vehicle. The difference is you get the event when the event happens and not a month later. 21st century, look for those moments to do a play-by-play. When the student says something interesting, neat, learning, or awesome, right there. Call actions, different events. This is when you're asking people to do something. And golly gee, if you're asking them to do it, use the words, do this. The research is unequivocal on this one. Ask people to do something will up your percentage of how many people do it. If you're feeling saucy, use this to gather information, to collect information. But because we want to be sensitive to not everybody uses Twitter or is comfortable sharing everything out loud, give an alternate vehicle like email me, offline, see me face-to-face, the F2S. Live look-ins, the creative ways. So live look-in, is it a picture of your bulletin board? Is it a picture of student work? Is it a picture of students working together? And remember, a picture from the beginning of the year that your students drew, side maybe using pic collage to see how far they've grown. That's the kind of thing that hooks our parents in and also celebrates our successes. Don't be afraid to use them. Further ado, thanks everybody for coming today. We'd be remiss if we didn't connect you with more support. And of course, one of our supports is following Lynn, Lisa, and I. We're the ones who produce the show on Twitter. We will always remind you that we're doing a show, and we will always push the recorded link out. So if you liked what you saw today, I'm going to be direct, just like the research says. Share it with someone on Twitter. Please do. Also, school has at least 2 instructional technology specialists, and we are out in your schools and we will help you. So if you get a great idea, we will show up face-to-face and help you out with it. So we do our Appy Hours live bi-weekly, and we record them so you can watch them later. Tomorrow, I'll do a big push. If you're live with us today, no, tomorrow we're talking about how you can run your own Google expeditions. So join us for these shows, and don't forget to Google it. You can do so much. If you learned something cool here and you want to get more, try Google. Of course, don't forget, if Google fails you, your instructional technology specialist, we won't. Make sure you keep connecting cool apps with Rockstar Instruction and Leadership. Because I know we have you with us too, Daryl, and everybody have a great day.